Good?
Yeah, we're live.
Alrighty, welcome back everyone to the Second Take Podcast. You have your normal crew, myself, Casey Berger.
Alex, nice to see everybody.
And today we finally have some new faces on the show. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Go ahead.
Sam Taylor from Toronto, first semester at GWU. Big Jays game tonight, so that's why I'm repping the jersey. I'm in the sport management master's program.
Okay, nice. And I'm Diego. Might be a bit of a similar face. I ran the podcast last year, but these guys here are doing a good job, so keep it up, guys.
Yeah, Diego.
Yeah, very excited to have you guys. And once again, we are the Second Take Podcast. We are run through the George Washington University Sports Business Association. You can find us at GWU SBA on Instagram, where we have all of our links. So stay up to date on there for all events. And I think with that, we can get started.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this past week in the NFL, which had tons of crazy things that we've got to touch on. First thing I want to talk about is going to be Chiefs-Jaguars. And just if you look on the ESPN scorecard here, you're going to see Patrick Mahomes, leader in the game in passing, leader in the game in rushing. I mean, the guy puts his team on his back, and the Jaguars come out with a win. I can't remember the last time the Chiefs were 2-3, maintaining a losing record, this early in the season. And a guy I want to talk about is Devin Lloyd, who is someone I've been kind of looking to break out over the last couple of years. This Jags linebacker group, both, middle linebacker guys and, outside rushers like Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. I mean, this group is just nasty. And alongside Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd has just been waiting to break out, and he had an unbelievable 99-yard pick six last night where they disguised a blitz, and it's the kind of stuff you run in Madden. You get, user lurks on your friends doing this kind of play where it was a disguised cover zero blitz, comes down to this formation, and then drops back and picks off a play that the Chiefs kind of use on this Travis Baker late in breaker, and it's just unbelievable stuff from Devin Lloyd, and you really like to see a win like this from Liam Cohn's young Jaguars, which are now 4-1.
I mean, I'm very happy to see this. I love a young team kind of rising up. It kind of takes me back to those 2017 Jaguars days when they had that really good defense. And I know they gave up 28 points, but at the end of the day, Mahomes was playing at his best, I would argue, for most of the night. And I know it's a little bit harder for him right now when they have literally no run game at all. I mean, he's led the team in rushing once again. Kareem Hunt doesn't have the same pop he used to. Isaiah Pacheco clearly hasn't recovered from that injury he had a couple years back. And I'm a little bit concerned for the Kansas City Chiefs. And now the division is open. The Chargers lost again, and they have not looked good. They're 3-2. The Chiefs are still only a game out. But I want to talk about this Jaguars team, man. They are inspiring. Travis Hunter finally looked good. Finally got some reps. He had that big ball down the field in double coverage. I mean, there was a lot to like on both sides of the ball. The Jaguars coming out with a big win. I think Trevor Lawrence really put himself out there in that last play where he stumbled.
That was
you
crazy.
kidding me?
That was crazy.
Unbelievable stuff.
Unbelievable. So I know I had that hot take last week about the Colts, taking that division away and making that AFC Championship run. And while I still think the Colts are a great unit, and I still believe they should be 5-0 if it wasn't for Adonai Mitchell being a bonehead, Jacksonville Jaguars are right up there with them, and I can't imagine anyone was expecting this. So it's going to be fun to look at going forward.
Then what about Bills Patriots? That was a crazy game. I got the chance to watch that. The Lakers were playing Golden State like it was a preseason game, and then I found myself going back to the Bills game. Like it was a pretty good game. So if you guys want to talk about that,
It was a strange week of football, and going into Sunday night after everything that had transpired from that Cardinals game to the Dolphins game, I mean, it was unpredictable, the entire slate. It was a joy to watch, and
Ravens getting routed by the Texans.
The Ravens are
they're from hell for them. Man.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It looks awful for them. I mean, all the stars they're out there 1-4. I can't imagine them, regrouping and getting it together for the season at least. Yeah. And you got to imagine, how long does Harbaugh have left in that head coach role? I can't give him till after the trade deadline.
I think the earliest he could potentially be fired is like trade deadline, mid-season kind of period. But I mean, when you've had a guy who's been a coach for the Ravens for at least 10, like maybe 13 years, you've won a championship in Baltimore. He's at least earned the benefit of the doubt to kind of ride this season out. If I'm Baltimore, I'm looking to pivot at defensive coordinator at the very least, because this defense, despite all the injuries, they're way too talented to be playing like this. And I've been trying to advocate for the Baltimore Ravens to get out of I'm blanking on Todd Monken. get out of OC for months now. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens have employed a good system to, utilize Lamar Jackson to his, maximum strength instead of wearing him out every game and treating him like the only piece on the offense. So I think the Ravens are not only ravaged by injuries, but this season is quickly falling out of their hands, and I think change has to come soon.
I wonder how much different it would have been if they hung on in week 1 in that insane Bills game.
Yeah.
Because it sort of seems that collapse has sort of got the ball rolling with how bad it's gone for them.
Right.
They hold on, and it's not like a huge collapse and a huge story week 1. I wonder how different the last month would have gone for them.
Yeah, it matters so much, when you, as players, you want to get behind your coach. You want to, the culture matters so much. I know it's kind of thing you like scoff at when you think about, just teams in major sports, but culture matters so much, and it couldn't be worse in Baltimore right now, getting dismantled by the 0-4 Texans who just, it's gotta, there has to be changes in Baltimore sooner. This is the same result we're going to just come to expect from them from week to week.
Yeah, and quicker, Texans are actually 2-3 now. I know it doesn't seem like it. And speaking of collapses, I do want to point out really quick. This year, the Ravens through 5 games have let up more points than they did in the entire 2001 season, which is just unbelievable. And it was a week of collapses. You look at the Cardinals, who blew that big lead. Cam Ward getting his first win.
Yeah.
You look at, I wouldn't say the Seahawks collapsed. However, the Dolphins did. They let Bryce Young come back.
Yeah.
Panthers are 2-3, which it really doesn't seem like. You got the Eagles. I know you're probably stoked about that. And you got the Giants kind of blowing a lead as well. I mean, it was just
what a week.
Unbelievable week of football. And I want to point to the most remarkable game of the weekend, one of the best games I have watched in a long time. Seahawks versus Buccaneers.
Wow.
38-35. I mean, what a ball game. You got young stars shining, especially those Buckeye receivers like Buka.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a spectacle to watch. And I hope you guys got to tune in at home. It was a game of stars, and this just pushes a little bit back on my take on the Falcons being able to make a play at the Bucs.
Yeah.
I don't think the Seahawks look bad at all, and I still have more confidence in them going forward.
Right.
I think the Buccaneers are really, setting themselves apart from not even just their division, other teams in the NFC. I mean, the only team that's arguably looked better than them throughout this year has been the Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even up in the air.
Can we say Bucks are must-watch football now? I mean, these guys are just every
course.
game they get into, it's electric. They have such an explosive, manner of offense. And this is without Bucky Irving, by the way. And they'll probably be without Bucky Irving next week as well as they play San Francisco. But this team is just the Bucks can hang with any team in the league. Now, there's questions as to, the de-escalation when they play against worse squads, but there's no doubt that if you face a team like the Bucks in the playoffs, there is no being safe. And yeah, like you said about Ibuka, man, the kid's just unbelievable. He's a touchdown machine. His catch radius is crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's just I can't say enough good things about this guy. He has completely blown my expectations of what I saw from him in college, which was just this guy is smooth, this guy is reliable, this is everything you want in an outside receiver. But I didn't think he'd be this explosive. 5 weeks in the football, the kid is unreal, and the Bucks are just steaming ahead. And once they get that three-headed receiver room in full rotation, it's going to be scary days for any team playing against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, absolutely. And 163 yards for the rookie is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Looking towards another absurd stat line, I want to give some love to Bryce Young for leading that comeback. But Rico Dowdle, 206 rushing yards coming in his first start of the season with Chuba Hubbard out. What's going on? I mean, I can't really make sense of most things that happened this weekend outside of Geno Smith being awful again and Jalen Hurts not being able to throw the football more than 10 yards down the field. But yeah, it was something to watch. There's a lot of exciting stuff going around in the NFL right now. Trends that we thought were happening apparently aren't. The league is wide open. I think this is one of the most exciting years we've had in a while. I think it's one of the most entertaining we've had in a while. One of the most unpredictable. I think there's a lot of good stuff going forward. But enough of that. We've talked about the NFL for most of our time throughout our 3 episodes in the podcast. We're going to pivot over to the MLB playoffs. Things are starting to shake up. NLDS is underway. The Phillies are awful. It's amazing. The Yankees are awful. It's even more amazing. I mean, there's great things going on everywhere.
Yeah, so I guess we could go through this on a series by series basis. So
You want to start the Phillies?
Yeah, pivoting off that
Phillies?
beautiful unbiased comment there from my co-host. We'll talk a little bit about the Phillies versus the Dodgers, and I guess I'll preface a little bit with just my personal experience, having watched the games as a Phillies fan. It's just that this is the unfortunate reality of like the two sides of the coin that we've come to see with the Phillies, where to the point it feels unreal to believe that this team was once clutch in the playoffs. We've seen that, last year against the Mets, they just completely broke down, and what happened
Outmatched.
was a lot of top of the order guys just really could not perform when their names were called. And what we saw once again is that the Phillies pitching staff is truly unbelievable. Christopher Sanchez had, in that start in the first game, I think has truly cemented himself as one of the best pitchers in the NL and the league at large. The guy is unbelievable. His changeup struck out more pitchers than any other pitch in baseball.
How did Ohtani do that game?
0 for 4.
4 Ks.
0 for 4, 0 for 5. Yeah, just
insane,
unbelievable
man.
stuff from Christopher Sanchez. The guy is nasty. And the Phillies can't perform when their names are called on them to provide run support for their amazing starters. Even Jesus Luzardo retired. He gets in these stretches of games where he just retires batter after batter after batter. And the Phillies have given 0 run support. And obviously, the Dodgers have played incredibly. They stay in games, and when the moment is opportune, like when Strom hangs a fastball over the middle, Teoscar Hernandez takes it deep for 3 runs, and that's the game. I mean, they're just an incredible baseball club. We could say whatever we want about the merits of their offseason strategies and how they bring in players or how they manage to get away with paying Shohei Ohtani $2 million a year on their payroll. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear if you guys think the Phillies have any chance of making it back. I personally think this series is lost.
Nope. No.
I'll let you. I'll be gracious and
No.
What you
I mean,
say.
look, I think you've summed it up perfectly. I think the Phillies are broken. They're not clutch. Top of your order has, I think, 2 hits. Schwarber, Turner, and Bryce Harper have 2 hits through 2 games.
I think it's
combined,
3, but same.
Might be
same
3.
problem.
Yeah, you see what I'm getting at
Yeah.
here, and that's not going to do it at this level. And
Yeah.
I feel bad. I'll stop harping on the Phillies. I'll pass it on because I don't have anything positive to say. At least not about this series, because I don't really want to talk nice about the Dodgers either. But as a Mets fan, seeing the Yankees and the Phillies both collapsing right now has been a great watch. And the thing with that, we can pivot over to Yankees Blue Jays, and we will pass that to our resident Blue Jays fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you seen so far?
I've had a little bit of a different last 3 days than Alex did with his Phillies. The Yankees just in Toronto this year are 1-8. They seemingly all their good work they do everywhere else around the United States just seemingly goes out the window. Pretty sure the Jays set a postseason record for most runs over a 2-game span with 23. It was 10-1 the first game, 13-7 the second game, and that game was 11-0 at one point, so it really was sort of just garbage time runs.
Right.
Yeah, definitely the biggest moment. Game 1, Aaron Judge at the plate, bases loaded, no outs. Jays are up 2. Swings at a full count splitter in the dirt from Kevin Gausman on my jersey. A pitch that he has not swung at all year, and the Yankees fans on Twitter, he hasn't swung at that pitch since 2017. Like, what's going on? The playoff Judge narrative, man, like, his overall numbers this year are good, but it's those clutch ABs that Yankee fans are going beside themselves. And then you have Vladdy Guerrero, on the other hand, that Grand Slam Game 2 coupled with Trey Yesavage's 4th MLB start ever and going 5 1/3 no-hit innings.
He looked incredible.
Those splitters, man, I couldn't believe what I was watching on Sunday. So yeah, awesome weekend. Got business to handle the next couple days, but couldn't be more happy with how the weekend went, Jays wise.
Yeah. And as it stands right now, I mean, Judge is batting .444.
Yeah.
Small sample size, still with
he's been good, man.
1+ OPS. But yeah, you have to worry about how postseason baseball changes everything.
Yeah.
And when you call upon a guy like Aaron Judge in those big moments, you need him to be level-headed, and that's something this club is going to have to make. I mean, it's obviously the biggest issue with the New York Yankees, roster construction, the way they play baseball is not, Aaron Judge is, swinging at splitters in the dirt on 3-2 counts, when we really need him. But I think that's something we have to be honest about with Judge, which is like maybe this guy just needs a couple more years to really be that kind of, the unbelievable playoff performer that we know him to be. Because, when they're winning, it's great. But when they're losing,
Yep.
you need a guy like Aaron Judge to be superhuman.
The hitter whose OPS has gone down the most in playoff history from regular season to playoffs, Aaron Judge. The pitcher whose ERA has gone up the most from regular season to playoffs, Max Fried, who the Jays lit up on Sunday.
Wow.
So when you have two historic players for the wrong reasons, playoff-wise, that's going to be it's going to be tricky for them, for sure.
Got to change. But
It's a
when
good stat.
unbelievable
Really
Blue
good stat.
Jays.
I love that. I love that stat.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff
I'm
from the Blue
I'm
Jays.
grinning ear to ear over here talking about the Phillies and the Yankees. But enough beating up on these bad teams. Let's pivot over to Mariners versus Tigers. This has been by far the only exciting series in my opinion. Phillies Dodgers
Only
has
one
been
one. Only 1-1 series.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only 1-1 series. That's the only one where it doesn't feel like we kind of have an idea of who's going to come out. Who do you guys think is going forward here? I know you've been saying that you think the Mariners are going to make a run, and I'm so happy for them, getting their first home playoff win since 2001. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't alive when that happened, and I can't even imagine how good that feels for the fan base. And it has been a little bit top heavy. I know Jorge Polanco stepped up, but it's been a lot of Julio, a lot of Cal Raleigh. Of course, they have a great rotation. They have Logan Gilbert in Game 3, who the fact that they can just pull him out in Game 3 is unbelievable.
Ryan Wu didn't even make the roster because he's hurt.
It's
Seriously, he hasn't played yet.
No.
Yeah. When they get him back, I mean, it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I love how balanced this Mariners roster is. You've got lots of great starters. You've got great guys coming on the bullpen. And just the lineup from 1 to 9 is just so strong. And, especially when you have I would always prefer to have a guy like J-Rod, who historically is just so much better in the second half of the season than the first, because, hopefully that kind of spills over into the playoffs. But I just think there's so much manpower in this Mariners lineup, and the Tigers are still kind of riding that, general midseason slump. I've said I think any game Skubal pitches in is almost like avoiding, major disaster, always going to be a win for the Tigers. And I think as long as Skubal's not pitching, they might have, exhausted their luck with beating a team like the Mariners. They're currently playing right now. It's a rain delay. But I'll be so excited to see how that match kind of turns out. Because you're right, this is, as it stands, still a competitive series.
Yeah.
It's 1-1. And it's kind of nice, like Casey said, a lot of other series we kind of have, there seems to be some kind of predestination about how that's going to turn out. And this one is still kind of up in the air. So
no, the Mariners for me definitely had the best trade deadline of any teams with Gino Suarez and Josh Naylor. Because they're off. I mean, how many years now has their pitching been elite, and they can't score enough, and that's what gets them every year.
Yeah.
They added Gino, who was on pace for 50 with Arizona. I think he slumped a bit since getting there, but still, whoever they had, he's an upgrade. And then Josh Naylor, who's just a solid 800 OPS first baseman for them. That really solidified the corners. Cal Raleigh, 60 bombs for a catcher.
He has to be the MVP.
I agree. Yankee fans say that's a horrendous take.
Yeah.
We'll
Yankee
see.
fans are delusional.
Well, Judge is he's historic, but 60 bombs from a catcher is just insane. Going to your Skubal point, they squeaked out the first game.
Right.
It's Seattle now has to win game 2. You can't leave Seattle 0-2. And you had to beat Skubal, and Jorge Polanco got him twice, and that was just enough to get them over the edge in game 2 to tie it up.
Yeah. No.
And then lastly, we have Brewers Cubs. Brewers have taken a commanding 2-0 lead. Neither game has been particularly close. And I have an apology for anyone out there who is a Milwaukee Brewers fan. I was talking really, really hot on you guys before, not even this series, before the playoffs. I essentially said whoever wins Cubs Padres has a cakewalk to the NLCS. I was wrong. I have had some bad takes in the past. I've never had a bad take with the Brewers because this usually happens, but maybe this year is different. They're mashing from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Big
Unreal.
spot home runs, good rotation. I know Aaron Ashby, went 1.1 innings last night.
He was just going to open. He wasn't.
He was the opener, and that
Yeah.
pen looked fantastic.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
held it down the rest of the game, barely allowing
Yep.
a lot of base runners. It was a dominant performance. I think that the Brewers are kind of proving that they belong here. They proved why they were,
100%.
a top team throughout most of the season, and I don't see the Cubs coming back here. I know it's going to Chicago, but
It's over. That
they
one's
see
over.
they seem outmatched.
Yeah.
Seiya Suzuki's mashing. Outside of that, I haven't seen any outstanding performances from any of the Cubs players so far, and it's gonna be tough to come back from that. And then I guess looking forward, we got Cubs, probably Dodgers. Hopefully Dodgers. Or not, Brewers. Yeah, my bad. And then probably the Jays versus whoever comes out of there. It's coming down to it. October baseball has been fun, and I think those will be more competitive series. So I'm excited for what we got coming up there. And transitioning over from that, we're finally going to get into the NBA. I know we haven't touched on that yet, but the season's coming up. Preseason is underway. I think it's time we get some predictions going about how we think this season is going to be. And I know the West, more or less, is a bit similar than it has been in previous years. Outside of the Rockets making a big jump with getting Kevin Durant. I think looking at
losing Van Fleet though.
They did lose
that's
Van Vliet.
Huge.
They did
that
lose
cannot
Van
be
Vliet.
understated.
Yeah.
It cannot be understated. However, I do think this gives their young guards a time to shine. You got Reed
Hopefully.
Shepard, you got Cam Whitmore. I think they're going to get some more run.
Whitmore's actually our Wizards now. They traded.
Is he
him.
actually?
Yeah, he's up the road.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to go see him. But
Yeah,
I do think
exactly.
this gives Reed Shepard some time to actually get on the court.
That
and
would be nice.
I'm excited to see how he will do. But looking at the East, I feel like we should start there. I mean, it is just a mosh pit there. I have
Great word.
so
Great word
much
for the East.
like shakeups in there. You have the Pacers and Celtics without their stars. It's going to be
Right.
tough to see them going deep. And that was the conference finals last season. I mean, where do you guys think this season is going to go? Who do you see coming out on top? I know it won't be the Sixers, but I know you guys might have some some different things. Alex, this is not your
it's
day.
been a-
Sixers.
This is
man.
not your. This is not your
It's
episode.
been a rough episode for you. Boy. I'm trying to keep it cordial. But yeah, if you guys don't mind me starting, a team that I think could be potentially very interesting is the Orlando
Great
Magic,
pick. Great
which they invested a lot of draft capital into Desmond Bain. I think it might have been four firsts, which in the NBA is like not that crazy. I mean, that's what you're trading for any star, close to superstar like quality player. But I think he fills such a fantastic role on that team because they really did need shooting and scoring from that shooting guard position. Looking at the starting lineup, you've got Jalen Suggs, who's just, pure defensive menace, and he could run the floor. Franz Wagner's just continued to develop as a scorer, and he could space the floor. And
Wendell Carter, demon.
Well, yeah, love Wendell Carter in the paint.
Demon.
I
Yeah.
would say so.
You like Wendell Carter?
I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously the big one is Paolo, who I think as underrated as superstars come in the league. I just have a thing for guys who just shoot mid range really, really well. And I just love the pickup of like guys like Tyus Jones.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up.
Best backup point guard in the league. And then I'll always have a soft spot for Jonathan Isaac. I think he's
Really?
a menace.
Did
on
you
defense.
mention Jalen Suggs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. I glossed over my how you feel about Jalen Suggs, Diego?
Also, he's also pretty good.
Big
Yeah,
fan.
yeah. The Magic are not bad. They've always been good. Paolo really underrated player. Like as you mentioned. How far did they go last year? Like, was it second round? I think it was second round.
Who did they play last year? Was it Boston?
I might have to look
I
it up.
believe it was Boston. Yeah,
I think it was Boston. I
Might
think they went out in the first round last
they
year.
did. I think
Yeah.
they came in as the 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
Oh.
right.
Correct, but
Yeah,
I mean,
so last year they were they were eliminated by Boston.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I think this is the most balanced, at least starting lineup they've had this year. I know they're losing KCP, Cole Anthony, and Gary
Who cares?
Harris.
Who cares? Who cares?
I'm gonna show
Not a
some-
fan of KCP.
I mean,
I think
good
Cole-
as he had winning basketball, but he was terrible for them
Yeah.
last
He was.
year.
He was.
awful.
And I think Cole Anthony is a little bit of a bigger loss, but at the end of the day, they get that scoring back with Desmond Bain.
And Tyus Jones, that's the role, man.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
They have that backup ball handler, and I think this is a good roster. And now they've been bottom 10 in efficiency the past couple seasons. I think that changes this year. I think now they're going to be able to take some of the weight off of Paolo and Franz Wagner's shoulders. Both have had a 30% usage rate last year, and while I don't completely know like the underlying statistics that go into that metric, being able to take weight off their shoulders and have them be able to, relax a little bit and not have to go 100% on every offensive possession, they can put that back in the defensive end, and they've been a good defensive team for a few years now.
That's their calling card.
That's their calling card, and I think this could be a team that you could see maybe making a conference finals run. I'm not ready to say finals, but I mean,
Conference finals is bold.
it's bold. I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying
Honestly,
they will.
yeah, like I have them in the top tier with the Cavs and the Knicks. I think if the matchups go their way, they could easily find themselves there. Now, like we've said, they've had no playoff success so far.
Yeah.
So they are going to need to make a leap, and we haven't seen it yet. But like Alex said, I think Bain is just a perfect acquisition for them. A volume shooter, they've needed it. They have been terrible with a three-point shooting team for the last couple years.
Yeah.
Powell and Franz, that's not great parts of their game. While they're
Yeah.
great in other things, the 3 points have not been strengths. So I think Bain, it's going to give you, a good year, low 20s, maybe high teens, but he's going to shoot the 3-ball well, and he's really going to, just like you said, Casey, take a bit pressure off of Franz and Paolo, just a nice release valve there. Franz and Paolo, they got in the league and immediately was your team and like do what you can.
Yeah.
So that's a tough spot. They've shown a lot of good flashes, but I'm high on the Magic, like Alex sort of brought up. I think they're going to be I have them as a top 3 team in the East right now.
Yeah.
What do you guys
Should
think
be.
about Cleveland? With Lonzo having just gone there.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good ad.
Yeah.
I mean-
Cleveland's not a bad team. Jared Allen, I think he's maybe properly rated, but I think he's not someone to brush off.
I love Jared Allen.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
I could
Jared
talk
Allen's
for days about how
outstanding,
much
yeah.
I love Jared.
And I do think that one thing people are kind of glossing over last year in their, couple games where they collapsed to the Pacers and lost in 5.
Yeah.
They didn't have Evan Mobley
Yep.
for the first half of the
I
series.
think Garland missed a game. too.
Garland missed, and Donovan Mitchell was playing out there with I think a low ankle sprain. I might be mistaken, but he was not healthy either. There were clear signs of injury on that team. If they are healthy going in this playoffs, do you see a team that can dethrone them in the East outside of maybe an upstart, Magic team or a revamped Hawks team? Knicks with some good offseason acquisitions. At least for me personally, love my Knicks to death. I think the Cavs are the top dog and the team to beat.
I agree.
I agree.
I think the Knicks
agree.
have a chance and the Magic have a chance, but I think if you look at this Cavs roster and what we've seen them do, there is no excuse for them this year to not be the top
I was going to
dog.
say that. If it's not this year, changes are coming because
exactly.
you kept your team together, which I agree with because they won like 60 games last year.
Yeah,
Boston
unbelievable.
and Indy gone this year. You have no excuses now to not at least make the Eastern Conference Finals. You have the same team. If it's not this year, that backcourt for me, it's either that is getting split up or Mobley Allen's getting split up with maybe a coaching change too. Because if they lose to the Knicks, sure. Even losing to Orlando, like they are more veteran than Orlando.
Yeah.
They should be able to
They've
win
gotta
that
be better.
matchup. So I'm with you. It's a big year for the Cavs for me.
I love the Lonzo Ball trade.
Yep.
I love drafting Tyrese Proctor too.
Yes.
And I hope he is what he was in college. I hope he's just that spark plug off the bench because I feel like that's really where the Cavs struggle. It's so top heavy on the lineup, and then there's just not too many guys that inspire a ton of confidence. But I mean, Lonzo, Tyrese Proctor, and Dean Wade and Larry Nance. That can be the making of a solid bench. But I think the Cavs have to win those minutes when their 5 isn't on the floor, or figure out a way. Maybe if the Garland Mitchell isn't working, maybe find out a way to stagger them a little bit. I mean, it might be hard to break that to one of your star guards, but like I see Garland's injured right now. If he starts the year injured, you could kind of use that as a chance to test out maybe staggering the two a little bit because we know what Donovan Mitchell is. He's unbelievable. I
He's a
still think
superstar.
he's the best shooting guard in the league. That might be a hot take. I think
I-
it's solidly him and Devin Booker. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think there's a world where the Cavs like don't disappoint if they're not the best team in the East this year.
Agree.
Yeah,
Or at least at the very minimum top 3.
Absolutely agree. And speaking on a team that I'm personally high on, I could speak my praises, but I want to swing this around to you guys. The Atlanta Hawks in the offseason, while they did lose Capella, LeVert, a couple other guys not that important, they brought in Porzingis, Luke Kennard, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now, if you look at that starting 5 with Risa Share having a promising year last year as a rookie, Trae Young still being, a very underrated point guard. He gets
Here
no
we go,
attention
Trae.
anymore.
This
and
is the year, man.
He's still a 20 he's still a
This is the year.
25 and 10 point guard. You can get into his defensive, weakness, but I mean, this is a strong roster that I think could end up being a top 4 seed hosting a playoff series. Say they get to the second round, I mean, could you see them making a run? I'm just curious to see what you guys think about this.
Yeah, I think so.
I would agree. This is Trae Young's year. Could I say that he was a bit underrated a couple years in the past just because of an underperformance that like the team has put up? But yeah, like you said, they do have Porzingis now. Not that they don't have an excuse to do bad, but they definitely have a better chance. Jalen Johnson's good.
Great player.
Having him back will be
He's
huge.
unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they should do good, and they should be a fun team to watch this year.
If Porzingis stays relatively healthy, which is a big if, I think they'll be a top 4 sounds right, top 4 or 5. Dyson Daniels, for me, could not be a more perfect fit next to Trae.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Great Barrier Thief is one of the best nicknames. In the
Absolutely.
it's
They're
so
bringing
good.
back nicknames.
Yeah.
Hopefully
and-
this is the start.
And yeah, man, like a starting 5 of Trae, Dyson, Reese Sachet, Jalen Johnson, Porzingis, a lot of talent. But
Strong.
here we go, Trae. Like, okay, you made the conference finals your second or third year, awesome, and it's been stagnant since then. So this is for me a year, and he's not extended. This is a year for winning basketball in the Trae Young universe. This is like a big year for them for me.
I love this. In theory, I love this Porzingis addition so much because it just opens up the floor for Jalen Johnson to play like what he is, which is like a 1,000th percentile athlete.
Yeah.
And it'll just open up the floor for him, because Porzingis is not going to be, camping in the paint all day. Just open up space for him to cut, catch lobs from Trae Young. I'm sure we're going to see like a million posters from him this year.
Yeah.
And I just love so many of these additions on the bench. Luke Kennard, elite shooter. I don't know how he went for. I don't think he's making more than $10 million a year. That's unreal. What a steal. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we know what he is. He's just a very great utility player.
Yeah.
And Onyeka Okongwu is someone I've been high on for a while. I just love him off the bench.
He's going to start a lot because KP is going to...
He's not going to be healthy.
He'll be, hopefully. But if KP plays 60 games, I think that's a huge win for them. And that still leaves 22 for Onyeka, who, for me, took a step last year. They finally started him over Capella.
Yeah.
Capella's now gone.
He's a rocket, right?
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
He went back. Okongwu's a solid player, too. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to shift it a little bit so we can get a chance to talk about the other conference in the NBA. So I want to talk a bit about the West here before we close up this episode. And I guess I'll start with a team that I know you follow, Diego. And I was of the opinion that I think the Lakers needed time for Doncic and LeBron to mesh. And do you think that it is too soon for the Lakers to start making noise in the playoffs this year?
Yeah.
Agree.
Definitely too soon.
Agree.
To be honest, not that I would take back the Luka trade, but the problem with the Lakers...
Because if you said you were going to take that back, I'd have to check you.
Bad take,
sure.
But the problem being we always needed a center for AD. We gave away our, makeshift center for the superstar, but we're, with less of a center now, and we got DeAndre Ayton, but he got flamed. He got flamed the other night because he put up 1 point. So I don't know, man. Too soon maybe. But
did you see the tweet when the LeBron stupid second decision and people were like, bro saw 2 DeAndre Ayton preseason games and had to
retire? Yeah. It's bad. This might not be a great season, but for the Lakers. But we'll see.
Yeah, one thing that inspires me, at least, is this is the most in shape we've seen Doncic since his first couple seasons in the league. Yeah. And while that's the same as like Mitchell Robinson shooting threes in the offseason, Ben Simmons shooting threes in the offseason, I think this is an angry Luka Doncic, and he's shown how much of a weapon he can be in the offensive end. You can expect that. I'm expecting 2023 form from him where he's putting up 34, 8, and 8.
Could easily be an MVP guy.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see it. I do just worry about the depth of that team. I know they got Marcus Smart, they got Jake LaRavia, who his name's not jumping out.
I'm a big fan of Marcus Smart.
He hasn't been good for 3 years, so that's a swing.
But they also don't need anything from him besides his defense, which has declined in years. But I do think, when he's out there, he can sub in for Luka while they have other guys on the floor who can go get an own bucket. Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, but LaRavia.
But at the end of the day, LaRavia's all right though, and that's what I'm saying.
Good defender.
When you don't have Braun or Luka on the court, Austin Reeves did not come by in the playoffs. He did not show up.
Yeah.
Are you really going to go out there and be like, all right, Rui, go run the floor? I just don't think that they have enough scoring talent on that team to hang with other teams in the West who have deep defensive teams. It's just kind of difficult to imagine them making a deep run, but probably one of the most, if not the most, intriguing team in the West. And that's going to lead me to another team that I'm very excited to watch, and we touched on a little bit before, the Houston Rockets. Now, they had a busy offseason. They went out and they got, I would argue, a still top 10, top 15 if you want to push back on that player in the league. He's still giving you 27 on any given night, despite being in his later 30s. How do you think that dynamic is going to work? They got a couple other guys. They have young talent. It's a weird fit on paper. What do you guys see from the Rockets this year?
Well, Dorian Finney-Smith, former Lakers.
Huge
former
pickup.
Laker. Yeah, no, the Rockets are deep.
Yeah.
The Rockets are very deep. Sengun
And
he's a guy.
Yeah.
And we chatted about it earlier, but the depth is going to get tested right away with Shepard, man.
Yeah. He's already listed as the starting point guard. There's so much of this is because Amen Thompson. I mean,
couldn't be higher.
Excited. I mean, I know a lot of people love him. I'm still not there yet. I mean, I recognize him for what he is, but he's not going to fill the void that Fred VanVleet left.
For sure.
And it's going to come down to a guy like Reed Shepard. And I think we could potentially get a look at Dorian Finney-Smith like hopping in. I love Jabari Smith as a player, but now that you add Kevin Durant to the fold, the archetypes they're very similar. It's two kind of really lanky guys that might just get bullied down low. And I have my reservations about Şengün as like a defensive player. I think this roster's loaded with talent.
I mean we have Steven Adams, so that like adds to the seniority of the
shout out Steven Adams.
The team. Yeah, shout out.
Played outstanding last
and Capella. And Capella. Forgot about it. Now we're writing him off.
We're not liking
pretty
Capella.
cooked.
He's not cooked, but it's like when he comes on the court, I'm not gonna be like, oh man.
They also
it's not really moving me.
They also have Jeff Green at the bottom.
Uncle
of the
Jeff.
Uncle Jeff, man, get him some playing time, for old time's sake.
Last two Sonics, him and KD, man, reunited again.
Yeah. But you look at their starting five of presumably Shepard, Thompson, KD, Jabari Smith, Şengün. You still have Tari Eason. You have Aaron Holiday and Josh Okogie, who I know those aren't big names jumping off paper, but those are solid players. You have Dorian Finney-Smith. You have Steven Adams, Capella, Jayshawn Tate. I mean, this is one of the deepest, if not the deepest teams in the league. I think the biggest problem the Rockets have is kind of finding what is the right fit. What is that five you're putting out there in crunch time? Because you have a lot of players with unique skill sets, right? And now without VanVleet as your, primary ball handler and point guard, I know KD has proven he can be a good, playmaker when he needs to be, but that's not what they want him to be.
And I don't think he wants that either.
Do you think that, with VanVleet going down, Shepard and, Aaron Holiday or maybe Amen Thompson? I mean, you're not looking to Amen Thompson to be a playmaker either. Can those two carry the load of, being the point guard for a team who has so many guys who can go get a bucket? Or is it going to be a very ISO-driven offense? They kind of need to find an identity. Maybe not early in the season, but come playoff time and, in a really strong conference where you have juggernauts like the Nuggets who got, Cam Johnson replacing Michael Porter. They got better in terms of fit and talent. You have the Thunder who, just kind of seem impossible to beat. Maybe not impossible, but, when they're on their game, there's no one better.
Yeah. Nothing changed, too, either. Nothing changed with the Thunder. Like, next to nothing. The core is stable.
Young. I mean,
it's
and locked in now.
And they're all locked in. So I think, looking at the Rockets, they just need to find out who they are if, they really want to make that run because they absolutely have the talent.
Absolutely.
The biggest question is the fit and the point guard. But they're definitely an exciting team.
My Rockets point, we've great depth like we've seen or like we've talked about. But in terms, if you lined up all their players saying, okay, what is one player that cannot get hurt? It might have been VanVleet. How many wings does that team have? It's all the guys we just talked about, 3-4s, right? No one. Fred was their ball handler.
Right.
They're going to try Thompson. I don't know how that'll go. And then they have Shepard, who didn't really play even as the third overall pick.
Yeah.
They're a deep team wing-wise, but guard depth, we're going to see early. Most of their roster is locked from trades right now because they just signed or their salaries don't become unlocked till I think December 15th. So they'll have a couple months to see, and then if they need to, they can try and explore a point guard trade if that's something they want to explore.
No, it's got to be Reed Shepard right now. I
agree.
I don't think it does justice to Amen Thompson's skill set to try to get him to be an on-ball player. You just need him making athletic plays on offense and defense. So, yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think Reed Shepard wasn't getting any opportunities last year, and the door has opened. It's wide open now for him to go and make, a move. And they need that desperately because, playoff time, maybe you could play iso ball in, clutch time. But, you come across a complete team like the Thunder. If you're trying to play iso ball and you don't have an actual one to, run your offense, they're going to get destroyed.
Like Şengün can play make. It's Jokic light where that's something. But they still have, Denver has Jamal Murray.
Right.
Houston, I'm not saying Fred was Jamal Murray, but they still had a tier 1 ball handler that could take the pressure off Şengün. we kind of saw against Golden State last year, Sengun got kind of bottled up by Draymond, did not play very well.
Yeah.
So he can do a bit of that, but it's a huge loss, man. Huge loss.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to wrap up, we're, about to run out of time here. I'm just curious, rapid fire, we're going to go around. I want conference finals predictions, finals, and who you think is going to win. I will kick us off.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how seeding is going to shake out. I'm seeing, Nuggets Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. I think it's time to get used to
Not
Thunder in the
sexy,
Western
but
Conference
it's,
Finals. And
yeah.
I think the Nuggets have it this year. I think, went 7 last year without Aaron Gordon in Game 7. I think the Nuggets might take that despite how much of a blowout it was. And then from the East, I'm going to go with, call me crazy, I'm seeing Knicks and Magic. And I'm a little bit biased. So to not be super biased, because I don't really think that they're there yet in terms of team fit and in terms of depth, because they don't have a 5. I'm actually going to take the Magic to make it
Wow.
an upstart team.
What an
over the Knicks.
unbiased guy, man.
We can come back later, but the Knicks, they have
No
Mitchell.
agenda whatsoever.
Karl Anthony Towns is not a center. And, our only
not?
5 is Mitchell Robinson. He struggles to stay healthy. He gets in foul trouble. If we're rolling out Gershon Yabusele with 5 minutes left in the game,
leave him alone.
yeah, but, he's also
a
not a
hero.
traditional
That's a great
5.
pull.
I'm going to go with Nuggets and Magic in the finals, and I think the Nuggets win that handily.
I like that. Yeah. Anybody have any other teams? I mean, I think you
Well,
hit
I
on
wanted
the head.
to bring up the Timberwolves, see what you guys
like
thought
that.
about them. I might take the Timberwolves conference
Okay.
finals against.
Say LA, Diego.
No. Let's be realistic. Last year maybe, but I don't know.
Gotta
man.
be Thunder, right?
Yeah.
T-Wolves Thunder.
Yeah.
That is solely an Ant Edwards extra league bet because their roster didn't really change.
They didn't add anyone.
Yeah,
They
so
only lost Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
and Ant can. I love Ant.
Yeah.
He could do that, but with just Denver and OKC, like he'd have to go supernova in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Fair.
But what a jump he made. I mean,
He's so
can we
good.
believe he became one of the best 3-point shooters in the league last year? Like,
Yeah.
No,
what a jump. I mean, I could have never seen that coming. The guy is beyond elite. And yeah, I do think they're kind of a piece away. I think you hit on the head, Casey. Except in the East, I'm leaning a bit more towards a team
the
like
Sixers.
Like no.
They re-signed Quentin Grimes.
think
How do you,
Dude, Alex
I
is
could-
Philly fandom is taking hits.
I
today,
could
man.
do a whole podcast episode about how much I hate Quentin Grimes.
But at least you love Josh Hart though, which is great.
I love
No.
Josh. He's my favorite player in the league. Very serious. No, I think you got to give the Cavs a look. The roster's just too talented, and the pedigree is there. Now they don't have their postseason demons. The Pacers presumably will not be in the playoffs this year. I just don't see how it's possible. And I think it's also fair to give the Bucks a look. I mean, Giannis
Oof.
is
Yeah,
always
that's
gonna make
it.
it.
I was gonna bring this up to you. That report today, Giannis report with those Knicks.
What happened?
Did we see that?
I don't think the Knicks really have.
But
They don't
Giannis today was. It
They don't
came
have-
out
They don't
that-
have.
give up.
They don't have the depth
Yeah.
to make
Wait, there
that
was-
move, and I think that
I
would
didn't
just
see. Wait, there was a
break up
Giannis
everything
report?
they have.
Sham said that Giannis informed the Bucks in the summer the Knicks were the only team he'd want to go to, which led to brief trade talks
That fit
between
is
the
garbage.
Knicks and the Bucks.
Yeah, I don't think the fit is bad, but either way, we'll get into that another time.
Another time, what I'll do is I'm gonna agree with you. Nuggets, Thunder. I'll go Nuggets as well. With the Cam Johnson ad, also Bruce Brown is back.
I forgot about.
Shout out Bruce Brown.
Valanciunas, a nice little backup center, and Tim Hardaway, who started for the Pistons last year. Like, if you go back and watch the Nuggets Thunder series last year, their bench was non-existent, embarrassing. Now they have 3 vets again with a couple young players to do stuff. And then I'll do Cavs, Knicks, Eastern Conference, and I'll go Knicks. So I'll go Nuggets, Knicks, and Nuggets in 6.
I like that. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
So we have a consensus. Will minus Casey. Casey said Magic to the finals.
Give me the Magic.
But we all think Knicks
Someone's
to the
gotta say it.
finals.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
The Sixers to the finals.
Absolutely not. I want to take you
Sixers aren't making the plan, but either way, we all have our picks in, and I think with that, we will wrap up this episode. I'd like to first of all thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks
It was
for
a
having
pleasure
me.
to
Thank you for having us,
have
man.
some
Yeah,
guests.
appreciate you guys.
And thank you to our listeners as well for tuning in once again. We're very happy, and we hope you enjoyed once again. You can find us on Instagram, GWUSBA. All members are welcome to join, and as well, if you want to hop on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to myself or Alex. And once again, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you guys.
Stay tuned for more content coming soon. Thank you guys.